Hello again, everyone. I hope you enjoyed getting to grips with right angles last lesson and you've got a good idea of what a right angle is and what it looks like now. For today's lesson, you're going to need your right angle tester again. So if you can dig it out of the desk drawer or down the back of the sofa or even, heaven forbid, in the bin, that would be great. If, for whatever reason, your right angle tester has been lost without hope of retrieval, go back to last lesson's video and you can make yourself a new one. Now, today we're going to be comparing angles. So, turn to your parents, pets and partners and, working together, I'd like you to come up with a definition of comparing. Okay, let's hear from Hamza and your partner. Perfect, Hamza. Comparing can mean finding differences and similarities. Exactly. For your journaling today, I'd like you to draw out the word maths as accurately as you can and using a ruler so it looks just like our in focus today. Once you've done that, I want you to use your right angle tester to see how many letters have right angles. Perhaps you could even mark them on with a small square. Now, how many did you find? Ava? Good, there are 2 right angles in the letter T. We saw that one last lesson, didn't we? And Melissa? Good, there are 4 right angles in the letter H. Let's have a look. So there are 2 right angles in the letter T being marked on there, and our 4 right angles in the letter H have also been marked on. Now, let's look at the letter M. M has 3 angles, just like in the picture, A, B and C. All 3 of these angles are smaller than right angles. We call angles which are smaller than right angles acute angles. The way I remembered this when I was at school was to think of them as a cute angle. A little cutie because they're small. Coochie coochie, a cute angle. So an acute angle is any angle smaller than a right angle. Now, the letter A also has some acute angles. How do we know they're acute angles? That's right, they're acute angles because they're smaller than right angles. With your parents, pets and partners, have a go at drawing 2 lines which meet to make an acute angle. You should have ended up with something a bit like a big crocodile opening its mouth. Here's an example. I've marked out where the acute angle is, and I've marked it with an arc this time and not a square, because a square is just to show right angles. Now, we've done question 1, so we'll have a look at question 2 now. Which of these angles are acute or smaller than a right angle? If you'd like to, you could use your right angle tester or the corner of a ruler to find out, or to check. See you in 5. Right, let's start with F for a change. Freddie. Yes, you're right, that angle is larger than a right angle, so it can't be an acute angle. We'll learn more about those angles next time, those angles that are larger than a right angle. Okay, now Erin, what did you find? Exactly. C is a right angle. So now we can compare the others to see if they're bigger or smaller than C. Let's look at A. Bigger or smaller? Smaller. So it must be an acute angle. Excellent. B then. Bigger or smaller than a right angle? Bigger. So not an acute angle. Right, we're getting the hang of this now. D is acute. Excellent. And E is not acute. Yet it's bigger, ever so slightly bigger than a right angle. You will have had to use your right angle checkers to get that one, I imagine. Great. Now, I'd like you to draw out the shapes in number 3 and mark on the acute angles and the right angles. Now, remember to mark them out using a square for a right angle and a curve for an acute angle. Off you go. Okay, now we'll dash through that super quick as time is slipping away from us a little bit. So, A, all acute angles, right? Oh, what? They're not acute. Oh, I was getting confused with right angles. I remember now. Okay, so A has 4 right angles. B has 3 acute angles, because they're smaller than right angles. C has 2 acute angles. And the other angle, the third angle there, is bigger than a right angle, so we're not marking that one on. D, not so easy. I can see 1 right angle on the right hand side there and 2 acute angles. The 4th angle, again, is larger than right angle, so we won't need to mark that one on. Okay, today for your independent learning, you'll be, as we said at the start, comparing angles. You'll need to find acute angles by finding angles smaller than right angles. There are 2 pages to complete today. Good luck, and I'll see you after to go through the answers together. Okay, so question 1 told us that each figure below is made up of 2 lines. So we call them figures and not shapes. Circle the figures that make an acute angle. Now, let's start with A. A has 2 lines joining together to make 2 angles there. Both of those angles are right angles. B, we've got 2 lines coming together to make 1 angle. That angle is smaller than a right angle, so it must be an acute angle. C is the same thing. We've got 2 lines coming together there to make an angle which is smaller than a right angle, so that is an acute angle also. D has 2 lines coming together to make an angle that is bigger than a right angle, which again we'll talk about next lesson, but we don't need to circle that one. E, one of those angles is an acute angle, so we've circled that. The other angle, though, is bigger than a right angle, just like in D. F, I think we can all tell without actually using our right angle checkers that that is, in fact, a right angle. Question 2, we want to mark all the acute angles in the shapes below and then write down how many you found. So A had 2 acute angles and 1 right angle. B was a rectangle, so they're all right angles, so no acute angles. C had 2 acute angles. D, again, had 2 acute angles. E had 3 acute angles. And F only had 1 little acute angle in the top left-hand corner there. Okay, well done. Good focus today. I hope you got on well with the worksheet. Looking forward to seeing those from you. And I will see you next time for some more angle learning. Next time we'll be talking about angles which are bigger than a right angle.